suggested we come down and watch.
Yes, it is a beautiful way to begin the season.
Do you want to sit down somewhere to watch this long parade?
Oh no, I prefer to stand. Or perhaps I'll go and sit with those children over there on the curb.
That's the best place to watch the parade from. It ain't a New York Christmas without the Macy's parade, and the children love it.
I like your spirit. There's a six-pack over on 30th Street in the dumpster. You may want to go grab it.
Oh, thank you. I'll get it after the parade.
So how have you been, my lady?
I've been fine, thank you. Santa? Would you like me to call you Santa or Mr. Kris Kringle?
Miss Kringle's fine.
Okay, I appreciate it. Well, I just can't wait for the parade to start.
The children and all the shoppers will be here, and
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I just, oh,
I wonder who they got for Macy's Santa Claus this year.
I don't know.
It is a bit mild out. Hopefully it won't get too cold.
Although the snow would make it nice. It's not Christmas without snow.
I agree.
Oh, my dear lady, why must you dig in the garbage bags? It's repulsive.
Because I find all kinds of wonderful things in there. Besides, I can get money for this bottle, and every little bit counts. And I'm starting my Christmas shopping.
Christmas shopping?
Yes, you would not believe the treasures that people throw away.
I do my Christmas shopping in the privacy of my own home. I just place the order by telephone, use my credit card. I can't be bothered with the crowds in the store.
Well, maybe you ought to be bothered just a little bit. It's the time, I'm talking to you, witch lady. It's the time and the thought that you put into your gifts that counts. My shopping may cost a lot less than yours, but it's just as appreciated. It's the way you show your love for your family, however you choose to do your shopping.
Huh. To do your shopping, I gotta remember that you line.
Quite
Sorry.
right. I like your spirit.
Thank you, Santa.
Well, you know, Christmas is the season when the department stores make up for all their losses all year long.
Why should it always be about making money? Christmas is the one time of year that is devoted to what we so carelessly give up the rest of the year. Peace, goodwill, helping others. Tell me, Doctor, what would you like for Christmas?
I don't even think Santa Claus could get me what I want.
Try me.
Huh. Well, if you say so. The medical facility at the Maplewood home could use an x-ray machine. It could come in handy for so many different situations, but it's very expensive.
You shall have it, Doctor.
Kris, if I get that x-ray machine, I will know you're definitely Santa Claus.
Just look in your stocking on Christmas morning.
Kris, we never really discussed you having to leave the Maplewood home. I want you to know how sorry I am. I fought for you all along, but the board overruled me. They just won't allow us to keep anyone who they've decided is mentally unsound.
But I passed all those tests, didn't I?
I know you did, but I can't justify what they're calling paranoid thinking. It's not
Because you mean I'm Santa Claus.
because you say you're Santa Claus.
but it happens to be true.
But the board doesn't believe in Santa Claus, so you're out.
So, what happens next?
Well, Maplewood has an arrangement with the Mount Hope Hospital
The rubble room?
for a public hospital. It's not a bad place. It's comfortable and charming. They have entertainment, TV, and Chris, do you have any money?
Well, of course, I have $53.
That won't get you very far. You're not a young man anymore. And if you can't support yourself, you become a ward of the state anyways. Why not just avoid the disagreeable experience of living on the street?
Because there is nothing wrong with me. I will be hanged if I go to the funny farm.
Oh, Chris, what choice do you have?
Well, let's see. I could go stay with my friend who is the zookeeper.
Please, Chris.
Well, Doris, after 5 years, we have this parade business working pretty well for us, don't you think?
As long as Mr. Macy's happy.
Mother, I think the Barney book looks better this year.
Yes, Susan, we fixed his eyes so they roll, which makes him look more alive.
You watch your mother, Susan, and you'll be running this parade by the time you're 12.
Would you believe almost 11?
Merry Christmas! You see, it's all in the wrist. Now it works. Just oil it. Just a little. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, being intoxicated in front of these children. You are a disgrace to the suit. Bet you want to know what my Christmas spirit is. My son's right here. You gotta keep warm. Whoa.
Oh, Doris, our Santa Claus is over there. Oh my God,
How do we manage to get him? Shelley, see if you could get him in the sleigh.
how?
Get someone to help you shove. Hide him in if you have to.
I think I'm gonna be ugly. Sick.
Mother, I don't think the people are gonna like a Santa who's asleep.
He's not his twinkling self, that's for sure.
Hi.
Santa, please wake up. That's not really Santa. He just works. My mom hired him. If you want to see a real Santa, they're ringing bells at every street corner in the city. Those aren't real Santas. I suppose you believe in the Easter Bunny too?
Chris, this looks like a golden opportunity for you to solve both of your problems. You can spread Christmas cheer and pay the rent at the same time because it looks like they need a replacement in the sleigh.
But they haven't asked me.
You have to ask them. How can you sit and watch this? Those children are gonna be so disappointed if there's no Santa Claus.
What is that I hear, Doctor? Is that real, genuine Christmas spirit?
No, I've just been thinking of what you said. Giving and sharing and whether you're the real Santa Claus or not, you can make those children believe you are.
Excuse me?
Oh, look, it's the real Santa Claus.
A pleasure, ma'am. Can I be of service?
Yes, absolutely.
Shelley, it's a gift from Santa Claus. So you can see what our problem is here. Would you fill in for us and play Santa in this parade?
Well, I I'm not in the habit of replacing intoxicated imposters, but since the role fits me so well, where is my dressing room?
Shall we get this gentleman suited up for the sleigh?
You bet. Right this way, sir. And I'll get rid of this.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Doris.
Hi, Fred. Susan's over there talking to the elves. Can you go get her and take her somewhere? There's so much going on right now that I don't have time to deal with all the crazy ideas they'll put in her head.
Oh, don't worry, Doris. I overheard the conversation. They were just talking about the North Pole.
That's just what I mean. North Pole. North Pole. I appreciate you taking care of Susan, Mr. Gailey, and I'm very glad the two of you get along so well. But we've been neighbors for long enough for you to know that I have definite ideas about keeping her mind free of illusions. I will not have her believing in fairy tales, Mr. Gailey.
Why not, Mrs. Walker?
All right, Fred. I'm sorry to be so irritable, but I find it more important for her to understand reality, and as a lawyer, I should think you would support that.
I didn't know you were raising an 11-year-old, you lawyer.
It isn't a fairy tale world we live in. She'll end up expecting that Prince Charming will come along and he'll, well, Fred, you know that happily ever after just doesn't exist.
Look, Doris. Are we talking about Susan or are we talking about you? Listen, I know that your divorce was bitter, and I know that it was very painful, but you can't remain painful and bitter for the rest of your life. Not all men will let you down, and certainly you can't raise Susan to think so.
I was devastated, Fred. Thank you for all your help, but please let me be Susan's parent.
Mother, the elves are so much better. Their costumes actually fit.
Don't worry, Doris. No one's going to make this girl's mind up for her.
Where's the blackout? Thank you.
The bacon are scared.
Welcome aboard. I'm Miss Shellhammer.
Chris Creek.
I am responsible for training all of the new Macy's members of the family employees. And this list is a list of toys we would like you to push Mr. What is it again?
Kris Kringle.
Oh, very clever.
It's been in the family for generations.
Okay, now, these are all of our overstocked toys. If a child should want something that we do not have, then you should suggest to them, you might not like that. You might like this instead, like a yellow minion with blue jeans, or a dragon that breathes real fire, or a fire truck. Understand? Understand, Mr. Kringle? It is Christmas. It is Christmas time, and people love spending money on their children at Christmas.
But why should they pay for Macy's mistakes? Christmas is a time of giving and goodwill. Why not give the children what they really want?
Because, again, Mr. Kringle, it is Christmas time, and people will pay as much money as they can to make their children happy.
Ah, the real economic spirit, huh?
Yes, and a Santa Claus who pushes merchandise will have a little something extra in his Christmas stocking, if you get my drift. Now, we shouldn't keep the shoppers, children waiting. Make sure you do these overstocked toys.
Hello, Sharon.
How did you know my name?
I'm Santa Claus. And have you've been a good girl. What would you like for Christmas?
I want a pink bike with ribbons on the handlebars.
You shall have it. I guarantee it.
Thanks a lot, Santa. Thanks a lot, Santa.
You're welcome.
You know, a bike like that at your store is $125. Do I look like I'm made of money?
Can you afford $55.95?
Well, sure.
Try Consumers Outlet. They have it just within your budget.
I can't believe it. Macy's Santa Claus is sending me to another store?
It's not about whether Consumers or Macy's makes the profit. What really matters is that the children get what they want.
This is wonderful. That is really good of you.
Hello, young man. And what would you like for Christmas?
Football.
A football. If I bring you a football, do you promise not to throw it in your parents' house like you did last year with the slingshot and you broke their window? Do you promise not to throw it in the house?
Yes.
Then a football you shall have.
Why did you say that? I've been all over town and everybody's sold out.
Try Bloomingdale's. They got a new shipment in. 4th floor, 2nd aisle to the left.
Bloomingdale's, huh?
Yes, now, be on your way. Oh, don't forget your hand again.
Thank you for shopping at Macy's.
To tell you the truth, I was on my way to Bloomingdale's. Your Santa recommended it.
He what?
Yes, and that's wonderful because, that's wonderful.
Oh, what is Mr. Macy going to say about this? Oh!
Okay, Susan, it's your turn.
Do I have to?
Do it anyway. Do it for the sake of Macy's.
You know, of course, that this is ridiculous.
And why don't you believe in Santa Claus, Susan?
How did you know that?
I know everything. Tell me, what would you like for me to bring you for Christmas?
Nothing. Whatever I want, my mother will get for me, provided it isn't too expensive. And I know you're just an old man that my mother hired to play the role of Santa.
Oh, you should still tell me what you want for Christmas. I will bring it to you, and I will bring all the other children their presents too.
Well, it was nice talking to you, but I don't think you should say that you're going to bring all these children what they want for Christmas.
Maybe they will get it, and you'll get yours too.
So sorry she's such a hard sell.
That's all right. Thank you for bringing her to me. I particularly like the tough cases.
You know, it's so sad to see such cynicism in such a small girl like Susan.
Yes, but maybe there's something you and I can do about it if we work together. Guys, I'm gonna go take a break now, if you'll excuse me. Oh, Elf, you could take a break too as well.
Mother, you won't believe what happened. There was this young girl online who couldn't speak English, and then the Santa spoke to her in Dutch, and they sang a song together.
Susan, lots of people speak foreign languages. I speak French, but that doesn't make me Joan of Arc. He's only a man I hired this morning. And even if there really were Santa Claus, I doubt if he'd be working at Macy's. Now, I'd like you to sit right here while I speak to Fred a minute. Fred, step this way, please. I just received Santa's employment record from the office. Perhaps you'd like to read it.
Oh. Name, Kris Kringle. How about that? Age, as old as my tongue, but as little younger than my teeth. Birthplace, North Pole. Oh, that's wild. Next of kin. Oh, Dasher, Prancer, Donner, Vixen, Comet. Oh,
Does that convince you? I think you better take Susan home now if you don't mind. Apparently, I have a job to do.
He seems like such a nice old man. All right, I stand corrected. Susan, let's go. Your mother has Christmas to manage.
Doris, this new Santa Claus is completely unacceptable. He refuses to push all of our backlog inventory, and you're not going to believe this. He's telling all of our customers to go to other stores to purchase toys. I'm not kidding. You've got to do something.
What a coincidence. I was on my way to do just that. Mr. Kringle, we've had a busy day, haven't we? Was it difficult for you?
Well, getting accustomed to a new setting is always a bit trying, but I've enjoyed the children so far.
Maybe you've been trying too hard.
What do you mean, Mrs. Walker?
It seems you haven't been following Miss Shellhammer's instructions.
Oh, you mean the list for the overstocked toys? Yes, well, I decided not to do that.
Oh, you did?
I thought it was dishonest. Why should the children pay for Macy's mistakes?
That is not your decision to make, Mr. Kringle. And speaking of dishonesty, how do you explain this personnel form?
It happens to all be true. See, I signed here.
So, you really think welcome to whatever delusions you care to live with, but we cannot have a Santa that sends our customers to other stores. You can pick up your final check at the personnel department. I'm sorry it didn't work out.
That's all right, Mrs. Walker. I won't hold this against you on Christmas Eve.
Doris, Mr. Macy would like to.
I am perfectly capable of speaking for myself, Michelle Hammer.
Is there a problem, Mr. Macy?
I will listen with great interest while you tell me who is responsible for our Santa sending customers to other stores.
I take complete responsibility, Mr. Macy.
I instructed him to push all of our backlog, Mr. Macy, but he just won't.
Well, then who told him to send somebody to Bloomingdale's to get something we didn't have?
We don't know, sir.
My office has been flooded with phone calls, faxes, letters.
I'm really sorry, Mr. Macy, but I've taken care of it.
All messages of grateful appreciation from shoppers. This is the greatest goodwill advertising gimmick in years. It's positively revolutionary. I can see the headline, "The store with the real Christmas spirit. Macy's Santa recommends Bloomingdale's." It's a breakthrough in advertising initiative, Miss Walker. The media will love it, and Macy's will rip a harvest of publicity and goodwill.
I'm so glad you're pleased.
This is the best Santa Claus we've ever had. And there'll be an extra bonus in both your stockings this year, ladies.
Is it still really Tuesday? Am I asleep and dreaming?
It's Armageddon.
Huh?
I just fired him.
You what?
You have to see his personnel form. He's crazy. He really thinks he's Santa Claus.
Evidently, Mr. Macy does too.
I don't know what we'll do now.
Oh God, do you think Mr. Macy is gonna fire us?
Maybe it's not too late. Sylvia, have the operator page Kris Kringle, will you?
Mrs. Walker, where's Santa? The line is stretched all the way to Bloomingdale's.
She fired him.
Oh my gosh, in the middle of a Christmas rush?
Do you all have enough candy canes?
And we're out of candy canes too.
All right, we're trying to straighten this matter out right now.
Okay, Mrs. Walker, as a shop steward of the L's Local Number 10, I must forge a formal grievance of the management's disrespect for the Christmas spirits.
We'll sort it out. Sort it out.
If you say so, yeah.
Do you think Shelley paged Mr. Kringle?
It wasn't necessary to page me, Mrs. Walker. I was going to bring the suit back when I collected my check.
Please keep it on.
I owe you an apology, Mr. Kringle. I'm afraid I was a bit hasty.
Oh?
I was mistaken about your policy of sending shoppers to other stores. As a matter of fact, Mr. Macy likes it.
That's all fine and well, Mrs. Walker, but why should I come back just to increase Macy's profits? We're so busy trying to make things go faster, look shinier, that we've forgotten the true Christmas spirit. It just seems like everybody's concerned about making a profit. I just won't contribute to that kind of commercialism.
Please, please.
So you won't come back? Here we are in the middle of the Christmas rush, and I lose a Santa who has worked a miracle. All because I didn't understand how miracles work.
Mr. Kringle, please save 2 wage slaves from being fired.
Please.
Well, would you come back if we promise not to ask you to push our overstock? Just be the Santa you want to be. Just be yourself.
Please.
Now that I can do.
Yes! The Union stands by you, Mr. Crinkle.
Thank you very much.
You wanted to see me, Mrs. Walker.
Ms. Sawyer, as our vocational guidance counselor, I was hoping you could help us with a particular situation we have. We have a wonderful new Santa in the toy department this year.
That's very admirable of you, Mrs. Walker.
Not exactly. This gentleman seems all right in every way, even a natural white beard, but he is actually convinced that he is Santa Claus.
Interesting.
I was hoping you could help the old fellow a bit.
You mean he actually maintains his character outside of the work environment? Sounds to me like a classic case out of an abnormal psychology textbook. What other symptoms are there?
None that I know of.
Persistent delusion. Very bad side, very. This sort of thing is usually deeply rooted in one's failure to have their needs met as a child. So they try to personify the spirit of gift giving and caring. What is the subject's name?
Kris Kringle.
You have got to be kidding me.
I wish that I were, but please don't alarm him. He's a very valuable employee right now.
What do you want me to do?
Just drop by and observe him, and then arrange an interview. Keep it casual.
Leave it to me, Mrs. Walker. He'll never suspect that I suspect. Excuse me. Are you Doris Walker?
Yes, may I help you?
Dr. Pierce, I'm the resident physician at the Maplewood home where Chris used to live.
Oh, really? I think I'd like to talk to you.
I heard you hired Chris as your Macy's Santa Claus. I'm so glad you gave him a chance.
Who is he really, Dr. Pierce?
That's a good question. I've given it a lot of thought. He says he's the real Kris Kringle, and if there really is a Santa Claus, he certainly fits the part.
You don't honestly think he's Santa Claus, do you?
I didn't say that. I merely implied that, philosophically speaking, he could be Santa Claus.
Well, do you think he is Santa Claus, philosophically speaking?
Well, it's all in your perception. If nobody believed in Santa Claus, then maybe Santa Claus wouldn't exist. But there are millions of children all around the world who do believe in Santa Claus. And Chris believes he is Santa Claus.
He surely does.
Let's say it's a case of I think, therefore I am.
We're still speaking philosophically, I assume?
Yes, I've learned that when you've lived in the world long enough and dealt with the world long enough, philosophically is really the only way that things make sense.
Unfortunately, we have to be realistic in the retail business.
I understand, but Chris is perfectly harmless. There are thousands of people living with similar delusions and have quite charming lives.
I'm glad you said delusions.
But as I've said, Chris is absolutely harmless. He just wants to spread Christmas cheer everywhere he goes and what the true spirit of Christmas is. I just worry about him sometimes.
Why?
Well, Chris is an old man, and I hate to think of him wandering around New York on the streets with no home to go to. If someone could just keep an eye on him. I mean, after the store closes.
You mean he has no place to live?
Well, he can't go back to Maplewood anymore. They've discharged him.
I'll see what I can do, Dr. Pierce. I appreciate your insights, and I feel much more at ease after this conversation.
Wow, I know you won't be disappointed in having Chris on staff. You have a Merry Christmas.
Kringle, is it?
That's one of the names I am called.
I'm Alice Sawyer, Macy's Vocational Guidance Counselor.
How do you do?
That remains to be seen. Mr. Kringle, before the store employees start coming in, I'd like to get acquainted with you a little. As you are a new employee, I'm required to ask you a few questions. Have you enjoyed your work here so far?
I'd hardly call it work. To tell you the truth, I normally do this sort of thing for free.
So you typically promise gifts to children around Christmas time?
I do the best I can.
And how do you presume to provide all these gifts yourself?
Santa Claus has a lot of influence in making things happen.
Yeah, like, you know, you sometimes go up to the North Pole to manufacture the gifts yourself, right?
Well, actually, I am currently staying at the zoo.
Excuse me?
Yes, I'm staying with my friend who is the zookeeper. I tend to the reindeer and make sure they're all right.
I see. Okay, well, moving on. What is 3 times 5?
15.
Good. And, I'd like you to maybe, you know.
Oh, I know this one. Touch my nose, alternating between index fingers. Do you know one that I don't know?
Excuse me, Mr. Kringle. Who's the first president of the United States?
George Washington. Do you know who the vice president under Grover Cleveland was?
I have no idea. Mr. Kringle, if you don't mind, I am the one conducting this interview here. Now, are you married?
Is that a proposal?
How many fingers am I holding up?
3. My. You bite your nails. Do these interviews make you nervous?
That's none of your business. Now, as I was saying, oh boy. Okay, you know it's 3 times 5.
15. The same that it was the first time you asked me. Do you know that constant repetition is often a sign of overwork and stress? I'm getting enough rest, Miss Sawyer.
Thank you, Mr. Kringle. That'll be all.
You know, I think you could use a good vacation. I'm gonna go talk to Macy for you. See if he'll give you some time off.
Yeah, you do that. That man has a rampant psychosis.
Who?
That Santa, the Kris Kringle.
Oh, come on, Sawyer. His doctor was just here, and she assured me that Chris is perfectly harmless.
Perfectly harmless. In cases like that, they often become delusional when they become violent and delusional when they're attacked. If he becomes violent, I will take no responsibility for it.
That's all right. I'll take responsibility. Don't worry about it, Sawyer.
I'm the psychiatrist around here. I think that my opinion should be respected. If something happens and he becomes violent, I'm going to be the first to tell you that I told you so. Good heavens, what was that all about?
Sawyer just did a psychological evaluation on our Santa and apparently didn't get anywhere. Her opinion is that Chris could become violent.
That would be a disaster.
But I also had an interview with Dr. Pierce, and she said that Chris is just a sweet old man who believes he's Santa Claus and he wouldn't hurt anybody.
Do you believe the doctor?
Well, she said that she's known Chris for a long time, and Sawyer only talked to him for 10 minutes.
Why do you think the doctor sought you out?
Well, she seemed very fond of Chris and rather protective of him. she's very glad that Chris has a job as Santa, and she's just worried about him after the hours in the store closes.
That would be.
She wants me to take care of him.
That would be a splendid idea, and you're just the person for it.
What are you suggesting? And not have him stay with me? No way! I have enough responsibility with Susan. And at night, I need to unwind.
Okay, Mrs. Walker. I think I might be able to help out. We do have a spare room. I could ask Chris if he could stay with us.
You're a jewel, Shelley. I knew I could count on you.
Not so fast. I do have to talk to my husband first. It is his home too. Tell you what, why don't you ask Chris over for dinner tonight? And while you all are having dinner, I will go home and talk to Arthur and suggest to him that we should celebrate Christmas by inviting an old man over to spend the holidays as a temporary house guest.
What will Arthur think when he's introduced to Chris Kringle?
I'll figure out something to get around that.
All right, Shelley. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you for inviting me to dinner. I thought the milk and cookies was an especially nice touch.
Mr. Kringle, could you speak to me in the language that you spoke at the mall?
Susan, I think Mr. Kringle's tired.
Not at all. Come here, Susan.
Excuse me, I've got to call Michelle now.
Tell me, do you have very many friends here in the apartment?
Yes, but the games they play are so childish. Today, they were pretending to be animals.
Why didn't you tell them that you were a lion or a bear?
Because I'm not a lion or a bear. I'm a girl.
They were just pretending they weren't animals either. Tell me, do you know what imagination is, Susan?
Yes. It's when you see things that aren't really there.
Yes. Well, it's more than that. You've heard of countries like England and Japan and Russia. Well, imagination is sort of a country. When you get there, you can be anything you want to be.
Not anything.
For instance, you can go to Mars and be back before dinner time.
Oh, that's not possible.
Or you can be the Statue of Liberty in the morning and fly in the afternoon south with a flock of geese. You want to give it a try?
Sure.
All right. Spread out your arms. Start flapping them like a bird, and I'll turn around and tilt sideways. Keep flapping, and now you're soaring like a bird.
I did it! That was fun, Mr. Kringle.
Tell me, Susan, if you could pretend that I was really Santa Claus, what would you ask me to bring?
Can you bring big presents?
Well, since we're in the land of imagination, I suppose they could be any size.
Okay. Well, I want a house, and a father to live in that house with us.
Oh my, that is a tall order indeed.
Well, if you're really Santa, you can do it. But if you can't, I know you're just a nice man that my mother hired to play the role as Santa.
Susan, just because someone doesn't get what they want for Christmas, it doesn't mean that there's no Santa Claus. If he or she got what they always wanted, it's just not practical. For instance, one time I had a little boy ask for a real locomotive. Or what if somebody asks for a real baby brother or sister, and maybe their parent can take care of them? Someone has to learn to behave better or love better before maybe he or she can get what they desire most.
But that's the only thing I've ever wanted, not toys.
Well, you just keep on wishing, and when you finally get it, it'll mean so much more. If he or she always got what they wanted, it wouldn't be half as much fun. So you must just keep believing, and eventually you might just get it.
Hello, Dor. Hello, Susan. Where's Dor?
Fred!
How's my favorite girl?
To go make a phone call, I think. How do you do?
I'm Fred Gailey.
Chris Kringle.
Yes, I know. I live next door.
Susan, it's time for bed. Oh, hi, Fred. Have you 2 minutes?
Yes, we just I got in my throat. Yes, we just introduced ourselves.
Mr. Kringle, I found you a place to stay tonight. Oh, that's my phone. Please wait a minute.
Are you looking for a place to stay?
Oh no, I'm staying with my friend, the zookeeper.
I've never met anyone who lived at the zoo before.
The zoo is no place to stay. Listen, I just mentioned I live next door. Why don't you stay with me? I have an extra bed, you'll be close by, and I can use the company.
Well,
Please stay with Fred. He's my best friend and he lives right next door.
I appreciate the offer. Susan, run along and tell your mother that we have made an arrangement not to worry about me. Good night.
Good night, Susan.
Good night.
I like the ideal too, being so close. It'll give me a chance to work on her Christmas present.
You know, I'm really very fond of that little girl.
I can see that. And what about her mother?
Her mother? You know, I really like her. But being the next door neighbor and Susan's babysitter, that's as close as she wants me to get.
Have you asked her out to dinner?
I've tried, but she's pretty much just focused on a career since the divorce. She doesn't want any, she just concentrates on Susan and her career. It's so sad.
Yes, it's a old sad story, but maybe it's one that you and I could do something about.
We can? How do we start?
Well, first of all, you must just pay attention to her feelings, and above all, you must have faith in her.
I've tried all that, and it hasn't gotten me any far at all.
Don't give up hope. It'll come out all right, and I will make sure of it.
Mr. Kringle, Miss Shellhammer has a place for you to stay tonight. She lives right next to the store. You can get to work easily that way.
Oh, that's all right. I have accepted Mr. Gailey's offer to stay next door.
Mr. Gailey, I see.
Yes, so I'll just be run along off to the zoo to collect my things.
Wait, I'll call your cab.
Oh, no need to bother. There'll be one waiting for me outside.
I should tell you about him, but I don't suppose you realize that he's been diagnosed as suffering from delusions. He should not be left unsupervised.
Aside from the fact that I think he can handle himself, I think we got the situation in hand. I think he'll do fine. Between the two of us.
Well, that's not quite all.
Oh.
The Santa Claus bit. I don't want Susan influenced. I thought I had made that clear to you.
Listen, I understand your concerns, but I like Chris, and it'll only be for a short time. Please, Doris, I'll take the responsibility. All right, just have some faith in me. Deal?
All right.
No blackout.
There's no blackout? And their carolers come out? I didn't know. Okay.
Blackout.
Huh?
Black it out.
Oh, last night we didn't black it out.
I know.
Well, there were carolers, I think. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And
Then turn it back.
Is everything all right?
Has Chris been by?
No, isn't he with you?
I went to the zoo, and the zookeeper told me that he got his things and left an hour ago.
Oh, heavens, Fred, something's happened to him.
Oh, it's all my fault. And I told you could trust me.
I don't want to blame you.
I never should have let him get his own things.
Well, the important thing now is to find out he's all right. I never could forgive myself if something's happened to him.
I'm surprised. I thought you didn't like Chris.
It's not a matter of like.
I thought that maybe what he stands for was starting to get to you.
No, but this is New York City.
Oh,
You know.
come on. Who's gonna mug Santa Claus?
I'm calling the police.
Don't call the police. Listen, if Chris can make his way all the way from the North Pole, then New York City shouldn't be any problem for him.
I'm serious, Fred. If he's all right, he would have called by now. He must know I'd be worried.
Mom,
Oh, what's wrong, sweetheart?
I dreamed that Santa went away and there wasn't any more Christmas.
No. Susan, you know that dreams aren't real.
Come over here. It was only a dream, Susan. Mr. Kringle will be all right, and we won't lose Christmas as long as we have each other. You better watch out. You better watch out. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Just sound
He sees you when you're sleeping.
Okay.
He knows when you're awake.
I don't know what I would have done about it tonight, Fred. I don't think I've ever shown my appreciation for your friendship, and the way you care for Susan. Please forgive me for getting so upset with you.
Thank you, Doris, for opening up to me. Thank you, Doris, for recognizing that I'm here with you.
Excuse me, I'll come back at a more convenient time.
Yes, you're back.
Where were you? We were crazy with worry for you.
That dream was true. Santa really did go away.
I was just caroling with some of my friends.
So relieved.
Chris Kringle, well, we cannot lose Chris Kringle because your mother cared for him.
That's a nice thought anyway. Come on, Susan. I'll tuck you back in bed.
So, did you enjoy my little absence?
What do you mean? We were worried sick over you. Doris was worried.
Didn't it bring you two closer together?
Well, yes.
I knew it would.
You old fox. You did that on purpose. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Listen, here's the key. Here's the key. I only live next door. It's the next apartment. And I must admit that I have an ulterior motive for you staying with me.
Oh?
I'm finally going to get the answer to the question that has plagued people for centuries. Does Santa Claus sleep with his whiskers inside or outside the covers?
Outside. I find the cold air makes my beard grow. Well, I shall be off.
Believe it or not, Fred, I'm glad he's staying with you. I feel much more at ease knowing that he's safe and near. I'm glad you're near too.
Me too.
I don't know what he is. Wow! Wow! Ow! Wow! Oh! Ow!
And now, ladies and gentlemen, what we've all been waiting for, a very special Christmas delight, Macy's Elf Theater.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer
Reindeer.
had a very shiny nose.
Like a light bulb.
And if you ever saw it, you would even say it's close.
Like a light bulb.
All of the
never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer game. Oh, a foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? And then the reindeer loved him, as it shouted out with glee. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history
Like a Washington.
And now, a very special honor, Mr. Macy and Mrs. Bloomingdale.
I said I'm an angel.
Where's Santa?
It's like the guy. Ah! It's no escaping tragedy.
Everything good? Everything good?
Mrs. Bloomingdale, please come forward. We need you.
It's the body. It's the body. You're insane. It's no escaping tragedy. And you're one star. You heard this?
Welcome to our store. I'm so happy that we can work together in the spirit of Christmas.
Yes, I must admit, I was at first very jealous of the popularity of your Goodwill campaign. I felt you were stealing Christmas business from us.
It's no escaping tragedy.
Then someone reminded me that Goodwill isn't an organization's private property, so we started our own Goodwill operation. I must say, it has been
It's no
most
escaping
profitable for us.
tragedy.
That's right. Goodwill goes a lot farther with everybody than competition. Madam, Mr. Kringle?
It's no escaping tragedy. And even.
This
And
is
you're
the man I told you
a
about.
star.
Mr. Kringle, you have brought a very special
Stop
store
that.
called Macy's
No, it's
and
definitely
Bloomingdale's
true.
for this Christmas season. And it seems to have spread to the entire city of New York as well. Whatever your special gift, it deserves recognition and appreciation. Now, in honor of your distinguished service, Macy's would like to present to you with this token of our extreme appreciation and gratitude.
Oh, this is quite generous. This is going to pay for an X-ray machine.
A what?
An X-ray machine. It's for a friend of mine who works at the medical facility at the Maplewood home where I used to stay.
That's gonna be quite expensive. I don't think that check will.
Let me handle it for you. We'll get it for you wholesale.
We'll get it for you at cost.
Oh, well, that's quite generous.
Will you folks, and you too, Mr. Macy and Mr. Kringle, will you come over to Bloomingdale's to take some pictures in front of my store? And since you have brought extra business to Bloomingdale's, there will be a bonus check for you there. That should help pay for that expensive machine.
Oh, we gotta go see Santa. Let's go. Hurry.
Excuse me, Fred. I never dreamed that I would ever see Mr. Macy shake hands with Miss Bloomingdale. It's surely a miracle.
It's, I don't know how he does it.
Who?
Chris.
Maybe he gathered some stardust while he was sailing through the air and sprinkled it on everybody.
Doris, your imagination is coming to life.
Not really, Fred. I was only kidding.
No, you weren't. And don't be afraid to admit it. Besides, I have a presentation of my own.
Oh, what is it? Oh, Fred, it's beautiful.
Yes, and let me put it on for you here. Let me tell you, I was in Cartier's, and they told me, "Wow, have you seen the collection at Tiffany's?" And they said, yeah. So he sent me to Tiffany's, and then when I went to Tiffany's, they said, "Have you seen the collection at Cartier's?"
It's happening all over town. I never dreamed when I met that jolly bearded man at a parade that he would revolutionize the entire merchandising business.
You know what? I think we should go out and celebrate and have dinner.
Oh, I'd love to, Fred, but I have to work tonight.
Really?
Really, unfortunately, Sawyer, our vocational guidance counselor, he has a lecture this evening for our employees.
Oh, can't you get out of it?
No, I'm sorry. I have to introduce her.
What's the topic?
This is embarrassing. Please don't mention it to Chris.
Oh.
The exploration of Santa Claus. Oh my, I will have to mention this to Chris.
And so, it's with great pleasure I introduce Miss Alice Sawyer.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are going to be exploring the nature of the Santa Claus myth. By the time this lecture is over, I feel confident that you will share my heartfelt convictions that this legend, which has been handed down over the centuries, is an outrageous atrocity and has been detrimental to generation after generation of both children of both sex. The symbolic figure of Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, or Kris Kringle, whatever we may call him, represents the classic expression of the wishful dreaming of all children. Instead of teaching children that the things that they won't come for free, we should be teaching, while they're still in their formative years, the value of the work ethic that has made this country great. We must realize that this is a hard and competitive world that we live in, and if they are to succeed, they must learn the marked difference between myth and fiction. Mature adults who continue to perpetrate themselves and perpetrate the fable reveal themselves as incomplete and neurotic personalities who have failed to adjust to the stringent demands of our culture. Not only have they damaged their own existence, but they are harming their children's future. A child who does not understand the marked difference between fact and fiction will grow up still clinging to infantile fantasies and never be able to face the cruel truths of today's world. Why do we do this to ourselves, do you ask?
Don't ask.
To compensate for feelings of guilt. That is why we perpetrate the myth of the Santa Claus. Parents who feel guilty because they've neglected their children 364 days of the year, they pick this one day to overwhelm their kiddies with gifts. They're doing it to purge their own shameful behavior. Parents and grandparents who swamp the kiddies with talk of Santa Claus and the Christmas charade, they're just reenacting their own infantile emotions, which they have never outgrown. Therefore, I suspect that the vaunted spirit of giving is nothing but selfishness in disguise. Far from doing any good in the world, this harmful behavior has done more harm than good. Furthermore,
Just a minute here.
I am giving the lecture here, Mr. Kringle.
I believe that there was to be an open discussion.
The discussion will take place after the lecture is over. Are you telling me that the lecture's over? Are you interrupting me, sir?
I don't have to stand there
And Mrs. Walker, I refuse to stand here.
Saturday propaganda.
I refuse to stand here and continue until this fraud of a man is off this platform.
Chris, we have to, please.
But I don't want to listen to her absurdity propaganda.
Absurdity, huh?
Fraud am I?
Oh, excuse me. See, don't you threaten me with that cane. I told you he'd become violent. What? Stop that. Oh, see, he hit me.
Oh my. Let's calm down here. Alice, Chris.
Are you going to stand there and allow this vicious man to assault one of your employees?
He's quite harmless.
Maybe we let the police decide that.
That concludes our lecture this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming, and Merry Christmas to you all. I'll handle this.
Mrs. Walker, I can defend my own person.
Please, Chris, for my sake.
All right.
Oh, wait, Chris. Would you wait in the hall? I'll talk to you in a minute.
Yeah. Society has ways of dealing with your kind. See, I told you, I warned you, that's what I'm talking about. He's just become this vicious man. I told you it would happen.
I hardly think.
This could really backfire on Macy's if Bloomingdale's or even the press were to get word that our Santa Claus might possibly be dangerous. The repercussions could be devastating.
Mm-hmm. I told you. I told you. I warned you. I warned you he's vicious. And now he's just broke psychologically. And thankfully it was me who was the victim of his attack and not some poor defenseless child sitting on his knee.
We've got to do something at once.
But he's just a kindly old man. Are you sure he touched you with that cane?
Yes, and he will again. In cases like these, they just snap. I told you, Kringle's a stick of dynamite and he could just go off with no warning.
But Dr. Pierce assured me that such a thing would never happen with Chris. She said his delusion is a positive one.
Dr. Pierce is not a psychologist.
Neither are you.
Well, in that case, it's your responsibility to have him diagnosed and have him checked out by a psychologist, a competent psychologist, at once.
I agree.
Well, I don't. Chris has been examined many times, according to Dr. Pierce.
Well, it's not gonna matter if it happens one more time. If the psychiatrist deems him competent, then he can just come back to his job.
Yep. And if not, you will have certainly done the right thing.
Well,
now, the only problem is to get him back out of here without creating another scene. You know, in his current state, he is sure to react with violence.
Mrs. Walker, you're gonna have to explain this to him. He trusts you.
Well, I simply can't hurt the old man.
No, never mind. I won't need you, Mrs. Walker. I know exactly what to do.
What are you gonna do?
I will invite him. Maybe first I have to apologize, and then I'll invite him for dinner. And then I'll just, casually convince him to get checked out by a psychologist tomorrow.
Well, all right, Alice. Call me later and let me know how you worked it out, okay?
Mr. Kringle, are you still here? Please don't go. I am so sorry for my behavior earlier. Would you mind going to dinner with me, and then I'll just drop you off wherever it is that you might be staying.
Well, I do accept your apology, but I think I will go with Mrs. Walker.
That's all right, Chris. It'll give me a chance to take care of some shopping. I'll go with Michelle Hammer, and I'll see you in the morning.
Shall we go?
I need to talk to my elves for a minute.
That's quite all right. It'll give me a chance to collect my things.
Do you remember how I said we ought to look for the good in everybody?
Is anyone including Mrs. Sawyer?
Yes. Sometimes, deep down, a person can be good, but we don't see it because it's buried so deep down that when the good does surface, it's hard to recognize it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I totally know what you mean. So.
Yes, and so someone like Miss Sawyer only sees things through a limited view, doesn't see things better than what they actually are. But deep down, even she might mean what she says.
Well, what if she wasn't being honest?
Well, that would mean, at the moment, the bad outweighed the good.
Well, if you say so, but let me tell you, please be careful.
I will. I've made up my mind that I'm going to dinner with Miss Sawyer. And, I know you elves are worried about me, but
Yeah, we are worried about you.
I'm good to go.
We stand right by you, so.
Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice.
Yeah, and please be careful again.
That's very generous of you. I hope, I just hope that what Miss Sawyer said, that she meant it and that it was sincere. And I will take care of myself.
Okay.
Why don't
All right.
you and the other elves go on home and get a good night's rest. And I'll
Okay.
see you in the morning.
Okay, have a great day.
Okay, you too.
Oh, are you ready, Mr. Kringle?
I believe I was ready as right. Where shall we have dinner?
Oh, I know this new place. It's called Le Bellevue.
Oh, French. she have done it?
Doris had nothing to do with it. She just thought you were going to have dinner with Sawyer.
No, she was just humoring me. No, I thought she was just beginning to believe.
How did it happen that you wound up at Bellevue?
I went with Sawyer to a restaurant and she kept looking out the window. When we got ready to leave, she pushed me into a waiting taxi between two men. I heard one of them say Bellevue. She didn't even come along.
Oh, didn't they give you those sanity tests that you already know by heart?
Yes, the same ones, but I was so distraught that Doris would do this to me that I gave all the wrong answers, and so they committed me.
Oh. Doris had nothing to do with it. All she knew was that Sawyer was going to take you to dinner and hopefully suggest that you see a psychiatrist.
No. She's had her doubts. I know it. If it had been you here, she would have been here in a heartbeat.
She had her doubts, but let me tell you that she was just getting ready to open up and believe. I think Sawyer just pushed her over the edge. Doris would not want you to stay here.
I don't understand why she didn't just come to me and explain everything for herself. If she was trying to spare my feelings, well, they're hurt anyway.
Yes, she did not mean to hurt you. Let me tell you something, Chris. You can't, don't be so gloomy. You can't, you've got to, you don't be so gloomy.
Let me tell you something. Why is it that I am in here? It's not just Doris, it's people like Sawyer. I'm in here, and yet she is out there. Why is it
nonsense
that people like her can be out there and I am in here? But you know what? If that is what society calls normal, then I'd rather be in here with these more honest folk.
Nonsense. Nonsense. You're quite sane and a whole lot saner than most.
And
Listen.
yet she's out there.
Chris, you can't give up. You can't stop. You gotta start thinking of everybody else but yourself.
Am I just thinking of myself?
You can't give up. Listen, you can't, there are people, what you do matters to a whole lot of people. People like me. People who have faith in you. And people like Susan, who is just beginning to have faith.
You know, you might just be right. Might just be right in that. Oh, I should be ashamed of myself. My golly, I am. You know what, Fred? I made up my mind. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get out of here.
Oh, wait a minute, Chris. It's not so easy. There are a lot of legal matters we have to clear up, I'm sure.
You're going to help me, aren't you? Now you listen here, Fred. You told me not to give up hope, so don't you give up hope. I know you can do it. You're just the lawyer to get me out of here.
Really? Then I'll do it. I'll get you out of here, Chris.
Where's the gonna take a 5-minute break, so if anybody needs to use the restroom real quick.
Okay. I see they found the hospital bed. Carol. Do you have any goodies? Do I? Do you have any goodies? I am. I should have ate before I came.
Daisy.
I like your pants.
Connie, you just had a compliment.
I like your pants.
Thank you so much.
Right, I like them.
So we're short one chair.
Okay.
So this is your chair, you're gonna bring that chair. Yeah, we need one more chair.
Carol.
I'm sorry I missed the hallway. I was outside.
Does she have any Christmas things?
From where? I have no idea. You got it from where Carol is standing? Oh, sorry, sorry. Okay, let's just put this back. Don't go from here, pretend there are gonna be people here. Good thinking, though, good thinking. I didn't know if I just needed to take.
Oh, I remember this part, this is when they go to court.
I'm not really in the ABC store.
Oh, you wanna hear from the ABC store? She's gonna go real quick.
Huh?
She's gonna go to the ABC store.
I'm
You want-
kidding.
I was joking.
Oh, Carol.
Yeah, I got them chips.
Okay.
Do you wanna drink or anything, Dory, real quick?
No, baby, I brought a drink with me.
Do you wanna drink?
Driscoll,
What?
I'm the reindeer lady.
Carl, I need to know what time this play is tomorrow.
What time is it play tomorrow?
What about?
1.
1, it starts at 1.
Maybe I know it was on the show online, and then we,
How many tickets do you need?
Well, I'm gonna see if Sherry and Danny wanna come and if Debbie and Bill wanna come.
It'll be, y'all, it'll be what, 6, right?
Yes.
It'll be 6. It'll be 6.